Two air fryers, same brand, very different personalities. One is fast and efficient, the other is more like the overachiever that wants everything done just right and looks pretty doing it. Hey everyone, Kristen here. As you know, I believe homemade is best, but it doesn't need to be complicated. And when it comes to making simple meals, the air fryer gets a lot of buzz, and rightfully so. It delivers crisp food with minimal oil in record time. And a few months ago, Cosori sent me their iconic stainless steel air fryer to review. Spoiler, I loved it, so did you. But we collectively agreed the price point at $249 was rather high. And with the cost of everything going up, price matters more than ever. So Cosori reached back out and asked if I would be willing to review their Turboblaze model. So a big shout out to Cosori. Thank you for sending both models for us to compare. I want to break down this less expensive model and see if it's a better fit for you. Right off the bat, you can notice the visual differences here. The iconic model is mostly stainless steel and looks pretty sleek sitting out on the counter. The Turboblaze is built mostly with plastic. That said, both air fryers use a PFAS-free ceramic coated cooking surface, so we can check that off our list and get down to talking about the speed, the functionality, and the price point of both air fryers so that you can make the best decision for you. And the best way I find to test the air fryers is to cook something in them. I do want to point out these air fryers work very, very similarly. They both use the same wattage, although the iconic uses a 3-pronged plug or a grounded plug, and the Turboblaze uses a regular plug. They also both range in temperatures from 90 degrees up to 450 degrees. So either way, you're getting the same range in temperatures. Now let's start cooking. Last time that I reviewed this iconic model, I shared with you my recipe for air fryer French fries. And potatoes and an air fryer are like magic together. So today I wanted to share with you another potato recipe that is awesome to have in your back pocket. We're gonna make my air fryer potato cubes. They're crispy golden nuggets that work for breakfast, as a side dish, or I really like to add them to a salad in place of croutons. That's a must try. So let me show you how it's done. This recipe is super versatile, super affordable, super easy. I have some russet potatoes that I've scrubbed and peeled. Often I leave the peels on, but this would work with red potatoes or Yukon Gold potatoes as well. And I've cubed them into about 1-inch cubes here. You want them nice and small and bite-sized. Think sort of like homemade hash browns, just slightly larger. And I'm just gonna drizzle them with just a 1/2 teaspoon or so of oil here. I'm using avocado oil today. You could use canola oil, you could use vegetable oil, you could use a light olive oil as well. And then to season, the options are endless. I'm using seasoned salt today. This is my homemade blend, and it has onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, salt, pepper. It's like an all-purpose seasoning that just adds savory notes without any extra prep. You could certainly just add some kosher salt and pepper, season it up with a little garlic powder, onion powder, paprika if you like. Again, you do you. Give that a toss to coat. Remember, when you're making potatoes, they really soak up all the seasonings, so you typically need to go a little bit heavier than you would, say, if you were making chicken or vegetables like roasted asparagus or something like that. Okay, so those are well coated. Now, let's see how they work in these air fryers. I'm gonna make half the recipe in each air fryer, and we're gonna run them one at a time and walk you through the process. I do them together, but I kind of want you to be able to hear how they sound, and I'm afraid I'll blow a fuse if I try to run both at the same time. All right, let's start with the Turboblaze. So I'm gonna hit power to turn this on. One thing to note about the Turboblaze is that this unit does need to be preheated. So take that into consideration. That's kind of a con right off the bat in my book. So what you want to do is you want to set it for the temperature that you're going to be using. We're going to cook these potatoes at 400 degrees. So I'm going to adjust to 400, and then I'm going to hit preheat. And it's going to take 4 minutes to preheat this machine. And it varies between 2 and 4 minutes based on the temperature you're using. Once the unit is done preheating, it will say end, and then you can open up the basket. And we're gonna add half of these potatoes to this basket here. You hear that sizzle? That's truly like a fryer there. So now that our fries are in the air fryer and this model has been preheated, here's a distinct advantage or disadvantage to the Turboblaze. It cooks faster, hence the name Turboblaze. So while you do have to preheat the model, the overall cook time is typically reduced. So for this recipe, I typically air fry my potato cubes for 8 to 12 minutes at 400 degrees. For this recipe, I'm gonna start at 6 minutes, give them a check, and then go from there. So that is something you're gonna wanna keep in mind, that you may have to adjust the cook times on various recipes. So again, I'm gonna hit 400 degrees and we're gonna start at 6 minutes. This model does not have a reminder to shake, so you're gonna wanna come back at about the 3-minute mark, give it a shake, or you could set it for 3 minutes, give it a shake, set it for another 3 minutes, whatever works best for you. It's been 3 minutes, I'm gonna pause this, release the basket, give it a shake there. They're starting to get golden. They actually look like they could probably use about 4 minutes. I'm gonna just adjust the time up to 4 minutes, and resume cooking. Okay, let's open this up and see how these potatoes look. Nice and crispy. They look absolutely perfect here. See, they're super, super crispy, pretty hot. Perfectly tender on the inside. So this took a total of 11 minutes. 4 minutes to preheat, and then I air fried for 7 minutes at 400 degrees. Now let's see how the potatoes turn out using the Iconic model. So again, we're just gonna remove our basket here. No need to spray with anything because we already have seasoned our potatoes with some of the oil there. Just spread those out, pop the basket in, turn the machine on. There is no need to preheat the Iconic model. So I can start cooking right away at 400 degrees. And it took 7 minutes for the potatoes to cook in the Turboblaze, but that's a faster speed. So I'm going to start with 10 minutes and I can hit the shake button, and in 5 minutes, this machine will remind me to give the basket a good shake. Okay, the Iconic has finished up here. Remove the basket. Super, super crispy. Looks pretty much just like the Turboblaze here. Nice and crispy, golden. Let's give it a taste to make sure that the inside is cooked just as well as the outside. It's a little hot, but the texture is perfect. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, fluffy on the inside would be a better word. They both produced wonderfully crispy potato cubes in about the same time. The Iconic did it in 10 minutes and the Turboblaze did it in 11 if you count the preheating time. So which air fryer's better? Honestly, it doesn't come down to which model's better. They both cook beautifully. I would be happy with either of these air fryers in my kitchen. It comes down to which model makes the most sense for you. So let's break down how they're a little bit different so that you can decide. Right off the bat, the price difference. The Iconic comes in at about $249, so it's not cheap. The Turboblaze comes in at about $100 typically. So that's a lot of groceries you can buy, or a lot of potatoes, right? Now, what are you giving up at that lower price point? First, the Turboblaze comes with a 2-year limited warranty. That's pretty standard in air fryers. The Iconic comes with a 5-year limited warranty, which for the price point, I appreciate. The Turboblaze, you do need to preheat the model first. So that is something you definitely want to take into consideration. The Iconic, you don't need to preheat it first. That said, the Turboblaze speeds up the cooking process a little bit. What you lose in the preheat time, you gain in the overall cook time. Caveat, most recipes you're going to need to adjust to accommodate that faster cook time, which at first can be a little bit of a learning curve. It'll become pretty intuitive to adjust a recipe to make it work in the Turboblaze. Both models handle the same temperature range. Both models clean really easily. Both are relatively quiet. One other advantage of the Iconic here is that it gives you that shake reminder midway through the cooking process, which is really nice if you're somebody who wants to be reminded. I've never had an air fryer up to this point that had that shake reminder, so what I typically do is set it for half the cooking time so that I hear it buzz, give it a shake, and then set again. So that is something you're losing using the Turboblaze, but it's really honestly not that big of a deal. As far as which one would I recommend, I would recommend either, honestly. If you're somebody who's using the air fryer constantly and wants it out on your kitchen counter and you don't want to mess with the preheat button, the Iconic is for you. If you're somebody who doesn't use the air fryer a ton, you don't really care about how it looks out on your counter, or you're honestly just wanting to save some money, because let's be honest, $150 is a lot of money, I would tell you to get the Turboblaze. You're not going to be disappointed either way. Both air fryers handle foods exceptionally well, and they make deliciously crispy fries, potatoes, chicken tenders. Drop your comments below. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know what you would love to see me make next using one of these air fryers. Until next time, happy cooking.